This is a quick response video to a response video. This one will be mostly on the topic of white supremacy. I guess his name is Andrew. I appreciate that he is ideologue. He's actually discussing principles. He doesn't seem like he's someone who just is on a bandwagon. So let's discuss some of the points and some of the criticisms that he puts towards what I've said. But this legacy is
Finagler.
foolish and it is evil.
Oh, self-hating white man right here. Just straight up admits it that he hates his own white heritage. You had nothing to do with what they did, bro.
Here, I would say that no, I don't hate being white, and I enjoy it, and I love my culture, and I consider that there's a lot of great art, music, movies that comes out of my culture. Appreciate that. What I do hate is the idea of white supremacy, and I hate what happened in Germany in the past, and I hate every version of supremacy. Something that we're going to talk about. So I make a distinction there. It's foolish for the same reason it was for Hitler. As soon as you decide that your race, that your group is superior and should be dominant of the other groups, you end up picking a fight with everyone else in the world.
Okay, do you hold that same standard to the Jays? He might. It seemed like he was calling them out in that one video.
For Hitler, yes, exactly, I do. Same principle for the Jays, same principle for any other group. There are other groups that will take on that same ideology. Ideology, believing your group is superior, ideology, which gives you leads you to believe that as a result you have a right to dominate. It was a fight with the United Kingdom, with France, with Spain, with Russia, and a lot of these people were even other white people. Because you see, it never ends up being enough to be simply even the same skin color.
I think this guy is AI, actually.
It ends up being that you have to be the same political opinions.
That's your exact that's your literal stance, bro, is that these people have to have the same political opinion as you, or they're evil. You keep calling them evil. They're evil.
So here I would just say that I believe that my ideology is superior, but my ideology is not skin color dependent. People from all kinds of different ethnic backgrounds can have the same ideology that I can do, that I have. And I believe that this ideology should be promoted by persuasion, not by war and not by violence, generally by peaceful means. Well, there is room for defensiveness in the midst of that, but I don't take my ideology in the sense of wanting to force it on other people. I hope to present it by persuasion. And yes, I do completely view that it is superior.
So if someone's evil, why wouldn't you want to wipe them out? Why would you want to live next to someone that's evil? So according to you, everyone should have the same political opinions as you.
I would still hope that I could live peacefully alongside those people, have dialogue with them. And so if someone becomes a school shooter because they're a liberal conservative, claim to have the same views as me or not, those people as individuals, I would have them punished and condemned, not the entire groups. So it's hoping that we can improve the whole situation we're in by persuasion rather than by violence. You have to be the same religion. You have to be the same language. As soon as you decide that
Yeah, there has to
superiority
be.
and
That's not
domination,
necessarily superiority. You have to have some form of cultural cohesion. There can't just be different people with different customs and traditions and languages in massive groups of them all in the same area. I think if it's segregated, it would work or could work.
First of all, here I would make a point or ask for a clarification. It seems to me that he is not advocating for white supremacy in the world. He's advocating that he wants particular areas where it's mainly their culture and their control. That seems to be implied when he's saying maybe we could be segregated. So it's important to try to understand what he's actually saying or what he's actually advocating for. So even though some of his ideas to me are sounding very much like kind of white supremacist ideas, there might be some nuance in this. I would say, though, with regards to his question, he says, well, I would just say that we have done this. We have shown this. Canada, the United States, lots of other countries in the world, we have shown that we have been able to work and live and cooperate and live side by side in peaceful, very warm and friendly ways. I'm actually living in a city in Canada where, so I came from Kelowna, which was very, very white dominant, not a lot of people in of other ethnic groups. So here in Edmonton, there's a lot more people from other ethnic groups. I feel 100% comfortable in both places. And it doesn't bother me the idea that I could become a minority in a particular place. If I was in Vancouver, maybe there, I don't know what the actual stats are, but there I might actually be considered a minority. So I would say that we can, so I think it's perfectly fine, and I'm happy to live in this multicultural world. And I think it's been proven that it can work, and that we can happily coincide while we are each enjoying our own cultures. But while we do have like dominant language in Canada is English and French, there's nuances and details to work out in all of this, of course. Is the philosophy rather than tolerance and trying to have a mutual cooperation. That premise ultimately leads to death and destruction. And we've seen this all through history. And if you don't learn from history, as they say, you are doomed to repeat its mistakes. Roman emperors sent their citizens out to invade other countries, try to take over other countries, death and destruction, conquest. Kings did the same thing, because as soon as you decide your culture is superior and that you have a right to take things from other people, that sets up a premise for war. And
okay, but isn't that what the criminal invaders are doing? They think they have the right to be here. They have the right to the welfare and to come in here and to do all the things that you just said. Isn't that exactly what the immigrants are doing? Listen to what he said.
So here I would say that I only support legal immigration, but there's some complexities in all of this issue that need to be discussed. Just in brief, sure we can talk about this more at other times, but it would be if you change the consequences of a crime from one day to the next, that can create by itself an amount of unfairness or an amount of injustice. A simple example for that is if we made it so people who were caught speeding that would now become punishable by death. And so that you start hunting down everyone who had been in the past had sped, because speeding, you're risking your own life, you're risking potentially killing people. So it is a harmful act. So you could say, well, we're going to actually kill people. And on the streets right now, if you're caught speeding, it's an immediate execution. Well, obviously, because that's the past and that isn't how it was treated in the past, obviously that would create a sense of injustice with regards to changing the law, even though it was illegal in the past. What all you're doing is you're changing the consequences or the punishment for that particular crime. Same thing for going through a stop sign or drinking. In the past, creating alcohol was illegal. We could go back to that. So there's one issue is what is considered illegal, and then what's actually considered to be a reasonable punishment for that illegal act. So for a long time, people coming in from other countries, working on the farms and so on, was basically winked at. It was treated as a very minor offense. They often wouldn't even give them the equivalent of a speeding ticket for those things. Now, you can argue that is bad, but we need to have a good way of changing that situation. I would argue that it's actually not as bad as they think it is, but again, there's nuances and complexities. Kings did the same thing, because as soon as you decide your culture is superior and that you have
They all believe their culture is superior to all the people that come here. They don't give a shit about assimilating into American culture. They want to impose their culture on top of you, like the Muslims playing in the streets and everything like that. Trying to assert cultural dominance.
a right to take things from other people.
They do believe they have the right to welfare and all these other programs.
Here, I think he makes a very valid point, that there are other ethnic groups that come in and they want their personal ideology to become dominant, and they are actively trying to do that in the country. That is part of their plan for coming into the country. So here, I would say that I would believe that coming into the country could be ideologically based. I agree with that, but not skin color based. I.e., you could have two people from the same country come in. One is trying to make their particular religion or group dominant. That's a conscious part of the religion that they are a part of, or whatever particular group. I would say, yeah, we shouldn't allow those people in, because we should only allow people in like that would agree with the Constitution, with those principles, which are principles of tolerance, principles of law and order. So I think that part of discrimination would be totally fine, and you could use that as a grid by which you're judging and deciding who can come into the country or not. That sets up a premise for war, and in a lot of these cases, it's counterproductive. In a lot of these cases, it's counterproductive to the stated goal of this, in that a lot of Germans were sacrificed on the altar to this German supremacy. A lot of German people died trying to serve that goal, just as today a lot of Russian people are dying trying to serve the goal of Russian supremacy, because Putin.
Okay, but you'd have to ask yourself, what would have happened if Germany won? What would the world be like today if Germany had been more successful?
Result, a lot of Russian people are dying, are being killed on this altar to Russian supremacy. But here's the thing: we've proven that we can have a better world. We've shown in the modern world that people can get along, that people.
Who's proven that, and how did they prove it?
He believes he has a right to expand it and to take over and to destroy this other culture, because he believes that his culture should, and his political system should, supplant the one that exists in Ukraine. And as
Bub's Cat's coming in hard. He says, the irony of morons like this simp. This simp wants to control you, hence his scat message. Fool. World War II is not a scripted event. Now, was it, dumb fuck?
I want to use persuasion to try to convince them that their views are wrong. But of course, they think that my views are wrong, and they're trying to persuade me of that case. That part of reality and life exists no matter what. There's no way to avoid that, and I don't necessarily think that we do need to avoid that. But I would say that it is possible to live peacefully alongside each other while we have different views, as long as we keep some very minimal kind of rules with regards to how we're going to interact and how we're going to get along.
You're just saying shit, dude.
Can work together. And then rather us than us.
I need to press this guy. You got it. Corey Logic, I need you to come on. Click the link, bro. I tagged you. I know you're probably lurking in the chat, dude. Come click the link. I
wasn't around when he was actually on live, but I appreciate the invite. And I do hope that we can chat together at the same time at some point. Fighting each other and destroying each other's cultures and destroying each other's schools and hospitals and homes. We're helping each other to create things. And as a result, all these different cultures are, have been expanding their infrastructure, and the benefits and the knowledge of being a part of those cultures. As soon as you are going.
What cultures, bro?
The United States in the past have been a leader in this happening. But now they are throwing that out and they are turning to a primitive idea, which is basically barbaric and going to destroy things rather than create things. So here's a way to analyze this. Think about the current situation I'm in where I'm living in a place, working in a place where I'm in the minority. Now, if you would have me and another person who's a white supremacist, and someone came in and stabbed both of us, well, we would be very unhappy, and that would be a bad thing for both of us. But with regards to being a minority in that situation, here I'm in a situation where I'm perfectly happy and content, whereas they are unhappy and content. So that shows that the problem is not the situation itself. That is not what is causing the problem, or that is not inherently an evil thing in the situation. The problem is the bad attitude of the white supremacist. That does make sense.